Hi, it's Malcolm here and welcome to another TTS video. So in this video we're going to have a look at how we can use the new place statistics to find place selections on the place market. Okay, just in case you don't know me, my name's Malcolm and I've been supplying tools to the betting market for the last 20 plus years. And today we're going to look at an update that I've just done on TTS. Now you're going to have to excuse me because I'll be looking at the screen, not always at you. So, you know, my eyes will be wandering, and sorry about the state of my office. It's in a bit of a mess at the moment and it's not the best for a video, but hey, that's the way it goes. Okay, so if you know TTS, or let's say if you don't know TTS, TTS is a piece of software that has been created to find selections that you can back, place, trade, and even lay. There are options for doing that as well. So it basically gives you loads of statistics on the screen at one time so you can look at a race. But recently I've added what we call the price charts, and if we click on here, you can see that we get all these price charts. So we're looking at yesterday's results, just so I can show you what happened and that kind of thing. The price chart has these prices coming out in throughout the day at different times, and we have this score. Now, we don't have many on the Irish races, so basically we always tend to stick to UK races. So there were some Irish races yesterday, so let's have a look at let's have a look at this race just for instance. So if we go to the price chart, there was just 3 selections yesterday. One of them actually was withdrawn or was a non-runner, so we ended up with 2 selections. So there were no places on there in effect. But what I've done is add this place statistic column here, which allows you to just see how they perform on the place market. So let's have a look at another race. Let's go to say the 1450. I've made a couple of notes of a couple that would be interesting to look at. So if we go to the price chart on this particular race, I'll have to move it up because I'm right down here in the corner, obviously, so getting in the way a little bit. Okay, so what we tend to look for in the price charts are 2 things. Basically, we often look for runners that drop in price in the first 3 time slots in the morning. These kind of give us an indication of how these runners might perform. Don't know why, it just seems to happen. But the other way of looking at it is the actual final score. Now the score is made up of prices that go up and down all day, and then what's the score, how often did they go up, how often did they come down, and then we end up with this score. We also end up with the amount of tick value, or the amount of price movement, not tick value but price movement. So this didn't actually move that far, whereas this 4, this is a reasonably higher number, and it dropped a lot in price as well. So from the morning at 6 a.m. it was trading at 11.5, and then by 3 minutes before the off it dropped down to 5.9. So overall it kind of dropped 4 times, and because it had gone up a couple as well, and it had a price of 5.6, or a drop of 5.6 on the price. So the price ended up at 5.9. If we look across here, we've got not a lot of information, but basically it's dobbed 5 or 31%. I'd rather, sorry, it's placed 5, 31% of its time out of all its races. You can get the number of races on the other screen, but basically I just put it's placed 5 times, and its overall percentage is 31.25% places. So probably that's the figure that you're probably more interested in, but it kind of gives you an idea of how often that's happened. So I tend to like looking at higher numbers. So this is quite interesting because this runner here has placed 55% of its runs. So it's got a good chance of placing 50-50. The price was at 1.42, which if you divide 100 by 1.42 gives you a 70% chance of placing. Well, it only actually places 50% of the time. So if you're looking for value, this is probably one area where you'd go, it's not very valuable. It's not great value because we know it only actually seems to place about 55% of the time. But the market's saying, it's got a 70% chance of placing. Well, okay, it might have in this particular race, which is what we're looking for. In effect, it did. It came third in a 7-runner race, which means in Betfair terms, that placed. Betfair payouts are 4 to 5 runners, they pay out on 2 places. 6 to 7 runners, which is this race, they play out on 3. 8 to 13 are 4, and 14 plus 5 places. So that would have been an easy one. The other one here, we didn't really have a lot of data to go on, but value-wise, if we took 1 and divided it by 3, we know that's going to come out around 33%. So, 33%. But we know it only places 31% of the time. So again, you can see that on the place market, there aren't great values. So this is all about picking well and trying to pick ones that you think have a good chance of winning. So 55%, 1.42 is not value, but in this particular race and with the score and that we know works reasonably well, we could probably add a bit of percentage to that. So overall, although I don't often go for place prices below 1.5, 1.42, it was a winner. So that's one way of using the cards. 55% is a good strike rate, so it may well be worth looking at it. So let's go to another race. Let's go to the 1600. As I said, I made a couple of notes so we wouldn't have to go through all the races, which is here, and have a look at the price chart on this one. So if we look, and sorry, my picture's in the way again, so we just moved that up here. We had a couple of big price or big movements or scores, if you like. We had a 6. We had the 6 here, which is quite interesting because I like 6s because they always kind of point to a runner that might place. 5, 6s and above. So if we clarify this by going across to its place, well, it's had 10 runners and it's placed 35% of the time. So we know it is a bit of a risk because it only actually places a third at a time, or just over a third at a time. 1.86, obviously there's no value as far as that's concerned, but they did think that there's a good chance. Obviously the price is saying that there's if we take 100 and divide it by 1.86, we get 53%. 53% chance of that horse possibly winning, which is a lot lower than it is, but it basically that's it. I mean, I like the 6s and I tend to go for them, and with 10 results, 35%, I'd probably take that chance. It's not the value that I'm looking at. I'm actually looking at the winners and whether I can win on that race and that. And it's adding all the pieces of information to say, well, that's good. You're not going to get much value on the place market, whatever way you look at it. But if you want a place winner, this might be a way of looking at it. This was how many runners? This was a 17 runner race. There were 2 non-runners. So it was a 4-place payout. So you may have even gone to the 4-place market and got a slightly different price than that. But that's another way of doing it. If we can look at the next one, which is 1615, and we go to the price chart here. Now, there's a 5 here, but there's no information on the place. And this is why I kind of like this new place predictor kind of or statistics. It's kind of backing up information that we already know. Now I know a 5. I might have just gone for a 5 at some stage, but with no statistics, then I'm not going to go for it. If we take this 1 here, not a high score, and it's got a price of 2.13, and it's only got a small percentage of or small number of places, but every time it's placed. So 100%, so basically 3 out of 3 is placed 100%. So at 2.13, so if we go 100 divide by 2.13, we get a 46% chance of winning, but we know that it actually, wins 100% of the time. So that would have probably been a better value bet in some cases, and it came first. It did go out in price a little bit at the end, but it still dropped quite a bit, 2.4. So that would have probably been a good selection. But I may have normally just gone on the 5, but once reading this, I kind of like, I quite like that idea. And the 100% one there even came second. Now, there is something that I should obviously say there is that they are still small results. They're not lots and lots of results. So it is a little bit of a risk going on that. So let's go to the 1650 and we wrap this up because I don't want to keep you too long on the video. So if we go to the price chart again. So here we've got a 6 and a 66% chance of winning. Only 2 selections, admittedly. Bad price again, but again, it came in. And, it's not my best. Now, we got a 5 here with 0 again. It did place. But if I was going to look at this race and go between the two of them, I would probably go for that one. Although that one had a lot better price. But, you're always taking a risk on the place market. Although that is an interesting race with 1 runner. 7 runners would have given you 3 places. So, overall, not a bad one to go on. But, yeah, always difficult when you go for the higher price place market runners. They don't always do very well, but the market tends to know them. And we had nothing to go on there. So I would have probably left that. I probably wouldn't have been on that 1.43 to be honest with you. But it is making me think a little bit more about it. Because if I can do 2 or 3 of those and do an ACCA or an accumulator. So if I win on one, I put all the profit onto the next runner and probably do 3 of those in a row. Then you're going to make over 1 point profit. So that is another way of looking at it if you're into accumulators and that kind of thing. Okay, so we will leave that here. If you are on YouTube watching this, please subscribe to the channel. I'd be really grateful if you do that. And if you want to find out more about TTS, then I'll put a link in the description below. And I will put a link in here somewhere so you can see it now. If you want to see another video that I've done, then look up on the right of the screen, which would probably be up here somewhere. It's hard to point when I'm not actually, but you know what I mean. One of my latest videos that you can look at. And please give me the thumbs up if you like it. Thumbs up. Okay, see you in the next video. Bye-bye.